Right, welcome back to another video. You might recognize that the sweater I'm wearing is the same as the previous video and maybe even the other videos that you've been watching. That's because I'll be away for a little while well, not that long. I'll be away for about a week, but I still want to keep posting videos and I might not be able to record while I'm away. So I'm recording a couple videos in one shot, all right? And I'm not going to be changing my clothes to pretend like I'm not. Anyway, today I want to share with you a story. It's not a massively big story or anything like that, but it's a story that I think illustrates something I really wish someone had told me when I first went into private practice. And so, yeah, the story is it starts with me billing. How exciting, right? I do my own billing in my private practice for both me and then my other therapists in the practice, and not just billing in Alma or Headway, right? These are kind of make it very easy to submit claims, but I'm also paneled independently. And so I submit my own claims in Simple Practice. I make sure the form is correct. I make sure that everything looks right. And then I submit the claim and then I wait for the insurance company to accept it and reimburse. It's a whole thing. But the point is that I would often become really, is it anxious? I'm not sure it's anxious, but maybe. But it would be a task that was difficult for me because I felt like I had to be so vigilant. And in many ways, I do have to be vigilant. You don't want to be submitting claims with the wrong numbers on them, right? So if you don't know about the claims, basically on there, you have a bunch of information. You have the provider, the NPI, the CPT code, the rate, all that kind of stuff is on there. And if you make an error, the claim will get denied. And then you have to go through the process of fixing it and all sorts of stuff. Needless to say, making an error can be quite tedious. But the point is, as I was submitting claims, I found myself like on edge because I felt like I couldn't make a mistake, right? It felt like if I clicked the submit button and there was an error, my whole practice was coming crumbling down. I mean, that's what it felt like. I mean, you hear horror stories when you go on Facebook or whatever. You hear people, audits, claims getting denied from a long time ago, you're never getting paid. You hear horror stories, and those things, although they're one-off incidents that you're reading about, you start to think that that's going to happen to you, right? So anyway, I was submitting these claims, and I have not made a mistake, right, up until recently, and that's the point of the story. I had not making a mistake. I'd be on edge the whole time, always double checking. Everything was going just fine. And then one day I click submit and I realized, oh my gosh, I entered the wrong CPT code. It happens. And for a split second I go, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? It felt like, oh my gosh, I just made a horrible mistake. My whole practice is going to be shut down, if I'm being honest. And this stemmed not from a logical understanding, but more from this kind of idea of feeling like I wasn't able to make mistakes. There's partial kind of perfectionism, which is unique to me in this situation. But there's also that sometimes there's kind of this idea that when you start a business, that mistakes can't be had. I don't know where that comes from, but maybe that's my own thought too, but it sometimes feels like when you're doing something as big as starting a business, like a private practice, you can't make a mistake or something horrible is going to happen. And I wanted to share with you, two things. One is that the mistake I made, it was corrected. The insurance company reached out to me. They caught the error. They said, can you please just fix it? This is how you do it. It was very simple. I fixed it. All is well. In fact, I actually learned a lot from making that mistake. One, it eased my anxiety about submitting claims because now it's not that horrible if I make a mistake. I'm not careless. I'm not just there pushing buttons, but I'm not as worried because I realized making a mistake's not the end of the world. It's okay, right? So that helped ease just the being on edge when it came to submitting claims. Because that's a task that takes a while. I spend a good amount of time doing that. And then number two, it helped me more broadly understand that when you start your small business, in fact, you should plan to make mistakes. When you start your private practice, you should plan to make errors. I once heard of someone who named their business incorrectly, like out of line with state regulations. And then they went back and they fixed it, like there's examples like that. Or, sometimes people establish the wrong business entity because they don't know. Although these things could, have consequences, most of the time people recover and recuperate and in fact learn a lot from those experiences. And I think what I'm just trying to share is that, and what I wish someone had sat down and told me, it's okay to make mistakes when starting a small business. It's okay. It's totally okay. You're doing a whole bunch of things you've never done before. You're filling out all sorts of documents for tax purposes. You might be doing your own taxes for the first time. Even if you make a mistake like that, it's going to be okay. All right. I know people are probably saying, no, you can make horrible mistakes. I know you can make a mistake on taxes and things like that, and it becomes a nightmare. But those kinds of mistakes are kind of the one-off mistakes. They don't happen all that often. But don't be so afraid. Don't be held back by the fear of mistakes in your private practice, in your small business. In fact, embrace them. I know that sounds cliche, but that's what I wish someone told. I wish they had said, hey, Matt, when you start your business, when you establish your business entity, or when you submit claims, you're probably going to make a few mistakes. It might cost you some time, maybe some money, but that's part of starting your business, right? Because my thought was you cannot make a mistake or things come crumbling down, and that's no way to think. So I hope this encourages you, coming from someone who has that kind of perfectionist mentality, who's made mistakes, and I just gave you one small example. I've made others, and as someone who's now kind of been in private practice for a little while, I know it's okay to make mistakes. In fact, those have been some of my most precious learning moments have been the mistakes. So if you're watching this and you're afraid of making mistakes, just know it's okay. You will make mistakes and you'll be okay. Anyway, I hope this video helps you. I'll see you in the next one.